Hi everyone. On September 22nd, the Holy Orthodox Church celebrates the wonderful memory of a man named Phocas the gardener. Now, Phocas resided in the great city on the Black Sea named Sinope. Phocas was also someone who was very small, very mean in appearance, someone who was very much no one in the eyes of those in the world. Now, the place he lived happened to be at one of the former gates to the seafaring city of Sinope, and as such, there were many, many people who found themselves in his presence. People from all walks of life, traders from different parts of the world, you name it, they were there at that gate where he lived, and he received them all with great hospitality. Now, because Phocas was a gardener, he was able to prepare food and treat the visitors that he had with the utmost respect and kindness, living, of course, a very simple way of life. And when they stayed with him, they, of course, had to live in that same simple way also, but no one ever went hungry at all, because Phocas was very, very intent on seeing that nothing happened to anyone. He was also someone that used his skills in gardening to provide for food for the indigent, for the poor, and other of the more wretched ones living in that great city at the time. Well, as it happens during that time also, though, paganism was rampant, and in fact the rulers of that area were also quite pagan and hated the Christians. It became known that Phocas was a Christian, and although the rulers knew nothing else about him really, the mere fact that that was his claim and that's what he was, and people knew about it, meant that they issued an order of execution for him. Now, some soldiers came out and were seeking all over for Phocas. There was to be no warrant, no examination, no questioning, but simple an apprehension and an execution. So they went for a number of days and finally came to the place where Phocas was. And he let them in and gave them his hospitality as he did for everyone else. And after about 3 days, he finally asked them, he said, "Well, sirs, you seem so tired. You've been looking for someone for so long. Who is it that you're looking for? Why are you actually here?" And they said that we have a warrant for execution of a Christian. He's at least accused of being a Christian, but yet the execution warrant still stands, and his name was Phocas. Phocas at that moment had a great surge of joy and delight go through him. For after living such a quiet and even reclusive life, he thought at once, finally, I get the opportunity to show that I am a true child of God. And he spoke back to these soldiers and said, "Look, your search is ended. I know where this Phocas is. In fact, I know him really, really well. And so please, sit back, enjoy your food, let me get you some more, and tomorrow I will deliver him to you." And they were overjoyed when they heard this, because they were looking so long for him. But then the next day came, and Phocas was up early and was out in his garden, and in fact he was digging a grave, and the grave was to be for himself. And so when he had finished and provided the soldiers breakfast, he came to them and said, "Look no further. I know this Phocas, and this man is me. So please, go about and do what you need to do." Now, the soldiers were absolutely shocked. They didn't know what to do or what to think, because they had come to respect this man so greatly for his hospitality. He had been so utterly nice to them and provided for days everything that they needed. And they liked him, and they didn't know what to do. And Phocas said, "Look, don't worry about this. Have no qualms about what you're supposed to do. because you are carrying out the orders that you were given. This deed resides on the heads of those who have called for it. So have no fear in this regard. You will not be judged for it." And the soldiers, finally, after recovering their senses a little bit, and although hesitant, were completely awash in the kindness and love that Phocas was giving them, well, they took the sword and they removed the head of this blessed gardener. After that, the relics became known to everyone, because Phocas, although he was someone rather hidden in what he was doing, and as I said earlier, was not really known as someone special, yet word had gotten out about the remarkable ability of this gardener to feed everyone, to help everyone, and to show kindness to everyone. And so the Christians came and took his relics and buried them in that very place. And not long after that, when they were able, a great church dedicated to the memory of Saint Phocas was built on that spot. And over the years, many miracles have occurred. Phocas has been known for providing grain for those who were starving, for providing a way home for those who were at sea and coming near some rocks. He would guide the ship away. At one time it is said that he even woke a sleeping quartermaster who was taking his turn at the wheel and was able to avert disaster only because Phocas had awakened him. Some of the sailors at sea began setting a place for St. Phocas every time they had a meal, and they would take turns doing this. And then once they had finally arrived at their port of call, would take all of the money that they had paid for this meal and would give it to the poor. So even now, the memory of St. Phocas is going strong, and he's particularly remembered as someone who knew how to show hospitality, who was guileless, who had love for everyone, and was granted his desire to witness for our Lord Jesus Christ. It shows that even the smallest things that we do in life, the smallest kindnesses, the smallest hospitality that we may show someone else, a word of kindness here, perhaps a word of comfort there, is something that the Lord by no means does not hear. He is quite aware and will reward each of us for doing these things because of love for Him, and bring us all, because of the prayers of St. Phocas and others like him, into His heavenly kingdom. Bye-bye.